the size of it so far, how much, how deep it goes, so on and so forth. How much geology is expected to continue to grow. And then of course there's the stockpile question, like exactly how many, right, how powerful. I mean, since there's different models of missiles that you'd have to account for, and their, expected or estimated level of destruction. Um, yeah, you would just, unless you've already done those, I take it unless you've already done those calculations, right? So you already have a ready answer, but that's how I was asking
No.
the question, really.
Yeah, no. So the reason is that the explosive force, like simply due to like the amount of explosive force that exists in the nuclear stockpile, it's nowhere near the explosive force of the caldera in Yellowstone is like nowhere near. Like it's not feasible to get anywhere close to the explosive force that resides in the nuclear warheads on Earth, right? The entire humanity's stockpile of nuclear warheads.
Yeah, the
So
Yellowstone
I get what
caldera is like a particularly crazy level, right? That's like a big chunk of the planet.
I mean, again, I'm just gonna reiterate, like, you could just tell me, like, oh, the
It's
nukes are
like
gonna
a
be more
chunk of
destructive, but it's like you understand the nature of the question I asked, though.
yeah, calculations wise, I've not done proper calculations, but like the explosive force is substantially greater when you're looking at the nuclear stockpile, right? Then you have a number of different
Yeah, I don't know.
scenarios, right? Are they being exploded? Are they being airbursted? That's not going to kick up a lot of debris into that atmosphere.
No.
On the other hand, are they being exploded on the surface or below the surface of the Earth? That will kick up more debris.
Okay, good. So,
But explosive power wise, the nuclear stockpile contains more power than the Yellowstone caldera.
in the right locations, is what you were saying. That they would do have more. They would be in a position. The explosions, that is, if they were set up, they would be in a position to kick up more
Yeah,
debris into the atmosphere if they were shot, say, closer or within the ground, right? As opposed to, say, like,
yeah. So
it would be less
normally,
destructive if a missile was shot towards a
yes,
city, it hit a city, right? That would not be as, it would not kick up as much debris if it was like, it was shot, like, say, or if it was exploded within, say, 20 feet within the ground.
yeah, exactly. So when you're targeting population centers or like industrial centers with a nuclear missile, the missile itself is going to airburst. It's going to detonate above the ground.
I'll be,
Which limits
you
the
guys.
spread of
I'll be right
radioactive
back.
debris.
My packages are almost here. You guys keep talking. The stream will still be able to hear you.
Which limits the
Okay,
spread
still.
of radiological debris.
Okay, still. So I get that. So I agree that if we modify the original scenario to where the missiles are within the ground and then detonate there, but that it would kick up more debris. Now, the scenario though that I originally was referring to was shooting the missiles uh, from their silos to various city locations. So as you indicated, that would be, um, yeah, it would be within just, you know, it would be above ground. The explosion would be,
Yeah,
and
and then
so it
might
wouldn't be.
so
So
It wouldn't be as bad as exploding them below the ground when you're talking about the spread of radiological
I understand that.
material,
Yeah.
but I've not done the calculations on how much radiological material would be.
Yeah, I mean, like someone who's worked on such scenarios before, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't, but that's okay.
Well, neither have I. My line of expertise. So,
Yeah, I mean, I just think if we had some sort of discussion about uh, our nuclear capabilities, I think everyone would agree that one shooting off, hitting some place is in itself a disaster. But nonetheless, though, yeah, without that threat, there wouldn't be any kind of that's the whole idea of why we don't have some total war anymore. Okay, is because of no one wanting to shoot off nuclear weapons because that's what the total war would entail. Um, so it's not just shooting nuclear weapons only, you know, or nuclear weapons deterring the use of nuclear weapons. No, it is to deter uh, conventional warfare, large armies, big military campaigns, things like that.
Possibly. I sort of disagree with the whole strategy, right? Because
What do you
you've
mean?
not necessarily seen that be the case, right?
What?
Assuming there are two,
Hmm?
like we've not seen use cases of nukes post World War II, but we've seen armed conflict and large military movements prior to this current day, right? And post World War II. So,
Such as? So you're talking about various military interventions? You're
yeah.
talking
So,
about
for
like
example, we had large movements during the Korean War of troop
when you say
concentration.
we, who are you referring to?
We, as in humanity,
Oh, no,
the
no, no.
the
So
human.
humanity's seen lots of military conflicts after World War II, especially from countries that
Like the
don't
U.S.
have nukes. So let's say, for instance, countries that usually they don't
Yeah.
have
So
nukes, right?
I'll take
So
the Korean example, right?
okay, and then also, of course, from countries that do have nukes that then
Yeah.
do interventions because they believe these interventions are part of some sort of containment strategy with respect to, say, the Soviet Union. So
Yeah.
this is
So let's take the Korean as an example. The Korean War. At that point in time, the U.S. had nukes. The Russians
correct.
had nukes. I
Yep.
believe even the Russians passed nuclear technology onto the Chinese. Um, I'm not 100% certain about
About
that.
what was the last thing you said?
About the Russian had having passed nuclear tech over to the Chinese at that specific point in time. Right? But
No, yeah, I don't think I'm not sure, but the relationship between Russia and China didn't start getting didn't start warming up or getting better to to like Gorbachev, Yeltsin. Like it was late. Like Russians and Chinese did not
it was
historically.
good. It was good after the. I need to look into when China got nuked. So.
Oh yeah, sure, but um when China got news, but like I think it was like what was it? Was it early 2010s when that happened?
No, they've had nukes for quite some time.
Oh yeah, so well, they did. Was it like the 80s?
We're gonna look into exact
Yeah, you could
dates.
just I suppose you
Okay,
could
I'm
just
back.
Wikipedia. Yeah, I suppose you could just Wikipedia. But yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, I'm not surprised if it was, uh, earlier than I thought, but whatever. Um, um, let's see. Anyway, moving back to it. Yeah, I think it's in general.
What were you guys talking about? What did I miss?
Oh, just kind of clumsily talking about nukes.
That's been
Yeah.
That's been one of your topics du jour as of late, no?
Yeah, but like yeah, it's been an interest of mine. I just need
It's an
more
interesting
books and
topic.
more literature on it,
Yeah,
Right now
for
I
sure.
don't have a whole lot. Right now I don't have
Okay,
a whole lot.
so
I
China's
intend on getting
first
more.
test explosion was in 1964.
1964.
Yeah. In the
And what
Gobi
was the name of
Desert.
the explosion?
I don't have a name for the explosion, but it was in Low Ponor in the Gobi Desert.
The Gobi Desert. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wow, that is pretty early. It's like before the Vietnam War.
Yeah. Just after the Korean War and before the Vietnam War.
Yeah, right before it.
I just got a new capture card.
What do you want, like a metal or something?
Well, I'm excited because I've been having these connection issues with my stream, which I think is just my potato PC having trouble with rendering.
Right.
And
They got nukes in 1964.
And this is going to allow me to do a dual stream, the dual computer setup. So my Mac, which is a beast, will handle the actual streaming while I can just let my PC do the gaming. And that way it should stop a lot of the issues that it's been having.
Yeah, why don't you just buy a Mac for your gaming?
Because Macs don't have a lot of games made for them.
Exactly.
What? So I have both, you dingus.
Point to me, Mac and Apple stock.
Yeah, except if you're in the film industry, you gotta be using a Mac.
Yeah, but I'm not in the film industry. So.
Yes, but I am. So
why do you have to use a Mac in the film industry?
Because most of the tools are made for it. The architecture of the computer itself is made for that kind of productivity. It's just better altogether for that sort of stuff.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
He bought into the lie that Apple sold him.
Excuse me, I was using Apple computers before it was cool.
Exactly, you bought into the lie prior.
My dad had a 1984 Macintosh, okay? We've been an Apple family my whole life.
I don't know, your sister said she owns some Androids in the past.
She does not. She used to own an Android. And then
Yeah,
she got
she
got an iPhone, and then she was like, I'm never going back to Android. Because that's what most people do, Steele.
That is not what most people do.
That is what most people do.
That is not what most people do.
That's okay. We'll get you there. Once we get funding, we'll make sure that everybody in the company has an iPhone.
Everyone is not getting an iPhone.
Well,
just
we'll
to
make sure
fuck with
you
I'm
get
gonna
an iPhone.
just to fuck with you, I'm gonna make sure that like the Windows Phone from a couple of years ago is going to be
No way. That the operating system isn't even supported anymore. That's a terrible idea.
Just to fuck with you.
terrible. That's terrible.
How about like male pigeon? Eh?
Just like a fucking. Aren't they extinct? Aren't carrier pigeons extinct?
No.
I'm pretty sure they are, right? It was like a particular type of pigeon.
No, I don't think so.
Let me double check on that.
Oh my gosh. Anyway.
They can fly with flash drives between two.
Yes, the passenger pigeon is extinct.
That's the passenger pigeon, not the male one.
That is the carrier pigeon.
Yeah, but don't worry. There are other birds that deliver mail.
Like owls, like Harry Potter.
No, like fucking other birds. I don't know what the fuck their names are. I'm not the bird nerd.
Like an owl. I don't know. Birds.
don't
People don't use birds for delivering.
I don't know
messages.
anything
What
about
are you
birds.
talking
I'll use the falcon.
Well, I mean, it's not that I don't know anything about birds. It's that, I mean,
I
I
know
don't
a
know.
couple things about birds. That's about it.
Not birds of the human variety, thank you.
You mean women?
Yes.
Well, yeah,
Huh?
that's not really your thing, is it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're just problematic.
Okay. His opinions do not reflect the opinions of Scandinavian Engineering and Manufacturing Corporation.
Shut up, shut up. Don't need to mention the company name, you dum dum.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, oh, well, I mean, whatever. I'm gonna be so annoying when I get more books on nukes and nuclear strategy and deterrence theory and all that. I'm gonna be pretty annoying.
That's okay.
It's gonna be great. But I don't have anything right. I actually only have actually I have zero. I have 0 books on it right now. My entire library, I don't have any books on nukes. I need to change that.
Yeah, get yourself some nuke books.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, there is a Russian nuclear manual for operation of an old Soviet nuclear silo floating around online currently. Operation manual.
Yeah. Okay.
If you're interested.
I really just want to read more about the strategy of it. Like usually the specs of it kind of I kind of lose track of like the interest my interest about particular specific details. I'm like, unless like I'm thinking about it asymptotically, like, okay, like if it's the case that a certain factor about news, like its location, the the sort of isotope of uranium or plutonium used inside of it, or some other sort of
There's a particular isotope of
actinoid
cobalt that is very
or other
dangerous.
or other kind of actinoid element. If there's I mean those aren't the only two, like I said. So, any of those other type of elements, like I'm like, well, okay. I mean that might change some of the destructiveness by I
So-
don't know if it would.
So
like
cobalt
again, like
cobalt
I
60
don't
in
know if it would change
particular.
it. I don't know if it would change it in a linear fashion or polynomial fashion or exponential fashion. I don't know. Um, but obviously, depending on how how it changes the scale of the destructiveness or so on, like that would actually matter. But like, but other than that, like the general idea. I mean, even just having one nuke, just a single nuke, is a game changer for just um, uh, for any sort of country or whatever. Like it's a complete game changer for its foreign policy and the foreign policy of
Sure.
of their neighbors and of the international community.
So
And so yeah,
as I was saying though, I think you'll find this very interesting, and I'll just send you the Wikipedia page so you can take a look at it. But cobalt 60 in particular is an isotope with a high level of long-lasting radioactivity, and a cobalt bomb was one that was sort of designed as a device that never would be built or tested, but that would be used not necessarily as like extremely high destructive
now we're
force,
talking.
but
Now we're talking.
extremely radioactive for a very, very long time.
See, now that's what we're doing. This is more important. It's not the blast.
Mm.
It's the radiation.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
So this cobalt
Oh,
bomb is considered to be a quote unquote doomsday device.
absolutely.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing.
No one's built one so far. Obviously, very, very, very outlawed by like every country.
It wouldn't make a difference.
No, that's
Outlaw?
true.
Well, that makes
Yeah,
no
but like,
sense.
I mean, again, someone with the ability to refine this type of material would have to build this, and individual terrorist groups don't have that ability at this point.
Okay, true.
Yeah.
You mean like the know-how?
The know-how and sorry, hang on. The know-how and the facilities.
What sort of facilities we're talking about?
Well, you're gonna have to refine this particular type of cobalt isotope. Let me see. It's a synthetic isotope of cobalt. Like you can't find it, and it's produced artificially in nuclear reactors.
Okay, so this is it's like a special type of isotope. You need like
Definitely, yeah.
special sources and equipment to produce. Mm. And fat chance you're going to be able. Oh, wait a second. No, wait. Oh, I'm going to keep that one to myself.
Okay.
No, no. So you're right. It would be like in terms of scrounging up the like if you were to go on if you're dumb enough to go on, try to get the resources via some sort of black market or whatnot, that would be just insane.
It
Like
would be extremely difficult to come across as well.
Absolutely difficult, and it would be watched for like you would not believe probably.
And it's very unlikely this type of cobalt would find its way onto a black market because it's only arises in very particular situations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, exactly. So the thing about this, you do have to produce this yourself. But the thing is, so remember it's an isotope, right? Now, looking at let's look at the kind of isotope it is. Cobalt 60, okay? Half-life of 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so, huh? Yikes.
Very yikes.
I was just looking at where they might
1
how
millisievert
they
at so 60 micrograms generates a dose of 1 millisievert at 1 meter away within an hour.
okay, so you're not going to be able to get you're not going to be able to get access to a nuclear reactor for this
No.
purpose. So, like I said, these are very rarefied
Mm-hmm.
circumstances in which
Or
they're
like, or you
right.
need like a very particular type of facility designed just to produce this type of isotope.
But no, so there is. That is correct. Well, no, not special facilities.
I'm saying
companies.
other than a nuclear reactor. I'm saying you would need that.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it does depend on another
because it doesn't
isotope.
occur naturally.
Well, that's correct, but the cobalt 60 depends on another isotope of cobalt. And that's cobalt 59. Now the question is, where does cobalt 59 come from? And if that's the kind,
Well,
if that's
cobalt
the kind-
59. A cobalt bomb could be made by placing a quantity of ordinary cobalt metal, cobalt 59, around a thermonuclear weapon. When the bomb explodes, the neutrons produced by the fusion reaction in the secondary stage of the thermonuclear bomb's explosion would transmute the cobalt to the radioactive cobalt 60, which would be vaporized by the explosion. The cobalt would then condense and fall back to Earth with the dust and debris from the explosion contaminating the ground.
there we go. So
deposited cobalt 60 would have a half-life of 5.27 years, decaying into nickel 60.
oh, let me just click on cobalt here real quick. Oh, look at that. It looks like wait, 59. So cobalt 59 is the
Just
just as
stable,
cobalt.
just a normal stable isotope of cobalt. But again, in order to make it, you'd have to blow it up around a thermonuclear bomb.
Yeah, it says it's stable.
Cobalt 59 is
Sure.
stable. Yeah.
Yeah, it says list. I was just looking at cobalt, where it says the list of isotopes. But yeah, cobalt 59. Yeah, it's an isotope. I was just making sure.
That's like I think cobalt 59 is like the most common isotope of cobalt.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's gonna be a tough. Well, oh, ionize. Okay. Well, it says the main product is the main cobalt 59 is the main product of I guess the decay of like nickel isotopes.
Yeah, but again, cobalt 59 is stable, relatively common.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And turning it into cobalt 60 again requires a thermonuclear bomb.
Well, yeah, because it says here the nuclear reaction for it. It says here cobalt 59 plus N. Then that's that's how you get cobalt 60. So the N here is for neutrons.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, a neutron.
Yep. That little extra neutron.
Well, there you go. Hmm. You know.
There was an incident once where a radiation therapy unit was illegally purchased by a private medical company and subsequently dismantled for lack of personnel to operate it. 1984, Ciudad Juarez in Chihuahua, Mexico. The radioactive material, cobalt-60, ended up in a junkyard, where it was sold to foundries that inadvertently smelted it with other metals and produced about 6,000 tons of contaminated rebar. These were distributed in 17 Mexican states and several cities in the United States. It is estimated that 4,000 people were exposed to radiation as a result of this incident.
How many people?
4,000.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, cobalt-60 is no joke. Let me see. What is most...
What? Cobalt. My gosh. Check this out.
What's up?
Did you hear about this story? In May 2013, a batch of metal-studded belts sold by online retailer ASOS were confiscated and held in a U.S. radioactive storage facility after testing positive for cobalt-60.
Hmm.
That's something else. That's crazy.
Let's take a look. Oh, shit. Jesus. Well, good thing they caught it.
Yeah, but they're gonna have to like test metal like this when they're gonna be manufacturing anything using iron or steel or anything like that. Brass. It added, unfortunately, this incident is quite a common occurrence. India and the Far East are large consumers of scrap metal
Mm-hmm.
for their home and foreign markets. And so during the refining process of these metals, orphaned radioactive sources are sometimes accidentally melted at the same time. Oh my. Yeah, they're gonna have to be a bit more careful with scrap metal, won't they? I mean, it is a resource, but I mean, you're gonna
Yeah,
have
but
to.
there's like nowadays there's like a lot of regulations about how any radioactive material is disposed of. Almost all of it is supposed to be like super tracked. So for the most part, usually it's not a problem, but obviously every once
Yeah,
in a while, something
you're
slips through the
talking
crack.
about like, yeah, but you're talking about like, um, are you talking about um metals that are mined and then refined,
And like
uh,
used in different
and then
things.
used?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like, absolutely. Like when you extract it from the crust, it's going to be trapped,
Yeah.
right? The issue is that it's the disposal sort of the waste processing uh, stage or phase. This is I suppose this is when the tracking could be disrupted. You know, people bringing in scrap metal, um, unless the disposal site or the place that was collecting people's scrap metal. I don't know why they don't buy it, but yeah, I know. But um, collecting people's scrap metal, like depending on how careful they, you know, they treat it or process it or whatever. Yeah, that would determine whether it continues to be tracked, right? But um, I take it as it says out in Asia, maybe they're missing that kind of inventory or accounting kind of procedure. I don't know. It kind of sounds like it, but
Yeah, but I don't know. I think for the most part, it feels like it's in everybody's interest, including their own, to try to keep track of nuclear materials. So most countries do. You can't account for every single person, right? But I'm pretty sure even North Korea has probably a pretty tight grip on their nuclear materials.
oh. But I mean, using waste as a resource. This is still unfortunately like a new idea. It should be old by now, I think. We need it. There needs to be more of that actually, but that's going to require more kind of nuclear and chemical work. I would think. I would
Mm.
think. I mean, there's a lot that can be done right now. You know, there's a lot we know about that now, but like, uh, you know, if I recall correctly, I don't know if I'm right about this, but I thought I read somewhere years ago that said something about the United States government has like a policy, like it's part of its domestic policy. Um, it is somewhere at some year, must have been in the 2010s, um, when where a company, like a person, yeah, a person can't, or a group of people cannot start a business that has this like as like its business plan to buy people's garbage, right? And then like um and then extract extract like um chemicals or chemical resources from it, whether like metals or polymers or
Mm-hmm.
things like that. They can't do that. It might have something to do with regulations actually. Uh, I know for a fact that chemicals are extremely difficult, if not they're either very difficult to regulate, or there's no regulation for them at all because of their diversity. Um, that is the case with
I mean,
like
it depends on the nature of the chemicals, right? There's certain chemicals that need to be tracked. Other ones probably
yeah,
not so
okay, yeah,
much.
but just yeah. I know when we're talking about chemicals, right? There's two things, especially with respect to a business. On the one hand, there's the chemical itself, which you can express with a formula, right? And that's the sort of chemical that the chemists are interested in. But then there's the other, um, there's sort of the use as like a material that the business produces a chemical for, and that's where things get difficult, if impossible, to regulate.
Mm-hmm.
Is the different products, mixtures of like chemicals that they'll make, or what are in the market.
Sure.
Even it's like in the same market or the same kind of area or industry or something like that. But it's like pesticides is a case in point. There's all kinds of pesticides, all sorts of mixtures, both dry and wet.
Yeah, but there has to be for pesticides. There has to be some sort of regulation, no?
No. There is some. It has to do with like the ones that are like lethal, right? Like those have like, I mean they yeah that and also it's like the regulation has to do with your use of it. It has to do with use, not like the substance itself. It's your use of it. So like whether you plan to use it for animals, certain kinds of animals, or whether you use certain kinds of plants, whether you intend to use it, like actually use it, or do you intend to store it?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Those have different regulations, and so but like the actual substance itself, no, not regulated. It's too diverse. There's too many different kinds. It's not. There's no way. Um, that's what I read. That's what I saw on like pesticide certification processes, or various certifications you would get for like pest application or use of pesticides. It's yeah, it's there's no way to regulate all the different materials that are used in pesticides. I was like, dang. And they are quite diverse if you read
For
about
sure.
all the different kinds of pesticides out there. So, but what is right? What is like what is governable is the use, the storage, all that. Like who has what, who's handling it,
Mm-hmm.
how you're handling it. That's about as far as it goes.
Interesting. Well, hopefully that changes at some point. But
Well, what do you mean? Well, what do you mean? Wait. What, do you mean it gets tighter? Wait. If it get wait, but like if it gets tighter, Jordan, it's just going to be more expensive. Yeah, okay.
yeah,
get
I
that.
mean,
Get that.
I think we
Mhm.
should be relying more on GMOs that have built-in pesticides rather than, built-in resistances to pests than using pesticides.
I don't mind GMOs. I think GMOs have their place. I think especially the GMOs could be really useful.
Yeah.
Can actually be beneficial. But like the whole pesticide, the whole pesticide matter though is just, um, I think it's the wrong technology. um, but of course the alternative has a steep barrier of entry for costs. But if you could pass that barrier, oh my gosh, you'd be in really good shape in terms of production. I've talked about it a little bit before with others in agriculture and whatnot, but like yeah, it's not it's you won't get far. It's not gonna. I've heard some problems, engineering problems in particular, in this sort of approach,
Mm-hmm.
like trying to, yeah, and because how are you going to deal with pests if there's no pest management, or what is pest management without pesticides? Like without literally without. It's like okay,
Well,
what
like I
what to
said,
do?
GMO, modify the shit out of them.
But if you
Make them
mod,
able to through their genetics to be resistant.
there's a limitation to. I'm almost certain, Jordan. I don't know for certain.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know for certain. I'm not sure, but just when you say modify the shit out of them, okay. I my initial sort of impression is that I mean you can only go so far. You can only modify them so far until you maybe they're not whatever it was that they were before. Or
Well,
if
I
you
mean,
modify
that doesn't
them,
matter so much, right?
if you modify them, nothing says that there won't be some sort of adaptation from the pests. You can't control that. Are you going to also modify the pests so that they're weaker? Hmm?
Um, no, you can't really do
Okay.
that.
So yeah, so we're still kind of playing the game in nature of if you modify the plants, the
Pests
insects or
will
the other
evolve. Yeah.
the pests will
But how is
evolve.
that
Yeah,
not different from pesticides? Isn't that the same thing?
it's
Wouldn't that be the same
it
thing?
it sort of yeah. It actually that actually does happen from time to time.
Yeah.
And I've heard that the reason there's reasons for that, and like you would use different pesticides, uh, different years, and so forth. And the idea is that there's no way, it's too complicated of a schedule. There's no way that if the one year some resistant, they resisted one pesticide doesn't mean the next year they're going to resist
Right.
a different pesticide, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So, that's a bit better. Um, so right now there's that issue, but I was told of a different scenario. Actually, that's being real. That's playing out right now, and it has to do with the reason you can't go like what I call like vertical indoor farming for cash crops. They said, well, I mean, yeah, there's some upfront cost, but certainly you'd be able to get around those with enough investment. I'm like, yeah, sure, but they're like, yeah, but there's still a lingering problem. It has to do with fertilizers. And I was like, oh, no, I hadn't heard of that one. So I'm still thinking about. I was still kind of chewing on that one
Mm-hmm.
about, yeah, about like about. It sounds really bad, but it has to do with I think phosphorus. I couldn't rehearse the problem to you right now at this moment, but it has to do with like surface level phosphorus is not a problem, but the issue is that the plants, if you look at the cross section of the plants in the soil, they don't go horizontally parallel to the surface. They go deep down vertically or perpendicular to the surface. Okay, and so there's kind of a depleting of important elements like phosphorus and deeper down in the soil. Okay. And when you treat the soil with fertilizer, you're treating the top, like the topmost soil. Okay. And it's not getting down into the deeper levels of soil. I'm like, well, how are you supposed to treat the deeper levels? They're like, you don't. It just gets depleted. I'm like, what? I'm like, wait a minute. If you did it indoors, where you could control the um the soil completely, even at its deep most levels, I'm like, it wouldn't be a problem there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I remember saying that, but I didn't get anyone listening. But anyway, whatever. Because that was my immediate response was that, well, that's what you have to have. Layers have to have. Because usually when I say indoor vertical farming, they usually think like, oh, you're going to do hydroponics all the way. I'm like, no, no, wait, not necessarily. I mean, like you can use like these deep beds of soil. They're like, well, they have to be pretty. I'm like, yeah, make them pretty deep. They're like, oh, come on. I'm like, I'm serious. How else are you gonna get around that problem that we're having with that sort of phosphorus problem, depletion at the deeper soil levels? I'm like, how are you supposed to get around that? Anyway, it's pretty
Interesting.
intensive in terms.
Yeah.
What's up?
Interesting stuff. A lot deeper than I've really gone into it myself.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I just kind of think about these as like problems that could have like a resolution or something
Sure.
like that, you know. But I haven't even gotten into like the math of it yet.
Well, maybe next
But
time, because I've been having connection problems with my stream all night, so I think I'm probably going to wrap it up for today. But it was fun having you on, man. Thanks for coming. Steele, are you still there? No, he's probably fallen asleep or something, or busy. But yeah, man, thanks for coming on. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream a little early tonight because, yeah, I've just been having these connection issues I'm trying to work out here. But everybody have a good night. Sep, thanks for coming on. Everybody else, thanks for listening. And I will see you guys in a couple days. Bye-bye.
okay, Jordan. See ya.